Welcome to your total body stretch session. This one is designed to complement your strength training by showing your entire body some love. We are going to be in each exercise for about a minute today, so it's just enough time to kind of feel the stretch working. But if you need to stay in one particular posture for longer, I encourage you to use that pause button and stay as long as you need. What we're looking for in each posture is, yes, a lot of sensation, but I want you to be able to rest. So if child's pose, for instance, doesn't feel like a resting pose for you, I want you to be empowered to make some changes. Maybe you're putting a pillow between your heels and your knees. Maybe you're lifting the hips up and coming into more of a puppy pose. Lots of different options to modify. I really want you to listen to what your body needs for today to be able to find that frequency of rest. So we want it not to feel like holding or strain, but like you can really ease into and drop into these different postures for today. So I'll get our timer started. The timer's just there to keep us in integrity so that we can keep this practice short and sustainable. We're entering child's pose for our first posture. So again, lots of different options for child's pose. You can take the knees wide apart, big toes touch, and then sink the hips to the heels if that feels good for you. Otherwise, you might just keep the hips high. You might, again, place a cushion or a blanket between the heels and hips. And then options for the arms, you can pillow the hands or stretch the arms out in front. Again, I want you to find a place where your body can rest. If you want a little more sensation in the hips, you're widening the knees and creating a little bit of that anterior pelvic tilt, so moving the pubic bone away from you. You might sway side to side, just feel that quality of opening in the hips here. And again, you're looking for something you can soften into. You might close your eyes in many of these postures. I really want you to focus on your breath in and out through the nose, lengthening the exhale as best as you can. So that by the end of the practice, this diaphragmatic breath feels a little bit more natural, less forced. We'll be here just a moment more, and then we'll come up just enough to be able to thread your right arm under left, bring your right ear towards the mat. I want you to release the weight of your chest onto that bottom arm so that you feel the tricep and shoulder stretch. And again, we want to find kind of that neutral position where we're not forcing any body position, any extremes, but just kind of if we were to go to that extreme and then back off a little bit, that's where we want to hang out in today's practice. This is a great one to enjoy right before bed, or even to start your day if you're feeling a bit stiff. And as you rest in each of these postures, call to mind, call to heart, anything you want to cultivate more of. We'll switch sides now very gently. Right hand forward, left arm threads under. So if you're feeling a little bit low energy or heavy, maybe you are cultivating more lightness, perhaps experiencing some of that cyclical anxiety or worry. Maybe this practice can bring more grounding, more ease. Invite a little bit of movement into the hips, swaying them side to side. And then as you get ready to transition, our next posture is going to be a lying sphinx. So slowly start to transition to a comfortable seat with the legs outstretched. So you'll have both legs out, kind of a narrow straddle stance. And I want you to turn your hands over your left leg, bend the right knee, but keep the left toes pointing upward, and just walk your hands as far over to the left as they'll go toward your left hip. You can bring blocks or a blanket under the hands if you need a little more height. Here we're looking to stretch the outer left leg. So again, we keep those toes pointing up. If it feels okay, you can start to come down toward a Sphinx pose. I want you to keep pressing through the sole of the left foot so that left leg square and aligned. And then we're twisting over to create that length in the outer leg. Keep the spine lifted. If you're on your forearms, you might still be on your hands, maybe bending the elbows a little bit to come closer to the ground. We'll get ready to switch here, just walking the hands over to the other side. This time, bend your left knee, keep your right leg straight. Walk your hands over to the right. Keep your right toes pointing up as best as you can. And then lowering maybe the right forearm, maybe both onto the floor. Though we are focused on the right leg here, just notice what's happening in the upper body. Make sure you're not gripping or creating tension in the shoulders. You can keep adjusting the position here, maybe twisting a little bit further, pressing through the sole of that right foot so that you create exactly the sensation your body needs. We'll be here a few more breaths. Really trying to elongate the right side body. And then we're going to come up into a comfortable seated position. I want you to create yoga mudra with your hands. So interlace the fingers behind you, straighten those arms straight and strong. Bring the shape of your hands over to the right hip, hug the elbows in behind you. And then we'll bring your right ear to right shoulder. For a nice neck stretch here. Once you get there, you can stay in this static stretch or just start to move and play with the position of your chin. Moving side to side, forward and back. Noticing where you need it most. We tend to carry a lot of tension here around the jaw, the face, the neck. Just allowing that gentle release. Once you find a place that feels good, stay there for a breath or two. And then nice and easy, we'll switch, come through center. You might switch the cross of your fingers to the way that feels a little less natural. Bring the fingers over to the left, hug the elbows behind you. This time we're bringing left ear to left shoulder. Again, playing with the position of the head and neck by moving the chin. And notice how the positions that you need might be different from left to right. Might be a particular range of motion that feels extra good today. You might circle the head kind of in all directions, looking up, down, left, and right. And again, keep your gaze very soft. So try to relax the muscles around the eyes, the jaw. We'll come into eagle arms next. Reach your arms out to T. Take your right arm under, left arm over. So first entry would be just taking opposite shoulders and feeling that stretch. And then you might add backs of the hands here, and then you might twist all the way through the wrists and palms. Once you're in the position that works for you, you can move the elbows up and down very gently, just working to mobilize the shoulder blades, all the while keeping the shoulders away from the ears. You can give a gentle hug of the arms and elbows to the midline, to the center. Press the palms together. And at the same time, try to separate and create more space between the inner armpits. And that will create more sensation across the upper back, create more freedom in the shoulders. And then we'll get ready to switch. Reach the arms out to T. Switch the cross of your arms. Left arm under this time, eagle arms on the second side. So we're spending a little bit more time in some of these stretches today, just to be able to experience those waves of sensation that come through. So really pay attention to them as they Come in and out. Notice how you can increase that dissipation of sensation with your breath. So deeper exhales. And again, softening the eyes. Lifting up through the spine. Can you stretch the crown of the head toward the ceiling? And at the same time, root down through your sitting bones. So we create some traction between the bones of the spine. We'll be transitioning to cat and cow next. So you can unravel your hands, bring your wrists under your shoulders, hips over the knees. As you inhale, stretch your sitting bones back, lift up through the spine, gaze up. And then from the tailbone, round in, coil through the belly, arch the upper back, press through the hands, chin to chest, let the head drop. Reverse it from the sitting bones, stretch them back, lift the gaze, press through the hands. And as you exhale, round in. Create a little bit more traction with the hands. As you inhale, hug the heels of the hands and the knees energetically together, press down. And then as you exhale, imagine you're trying to push the floor away. Same thing with the knees, pressing them in opposite directions. So I'll give you just that little bit of added sensation here. Let's really feel that lengthening, stretching across the side waist, the intercostals between the ribs. And come back to neutral. This time we're going to step the right foot forward nice and wide. Keep your hands to the inside for lizard stretch. You might be high up on the hands. Maybe you have a block or a cushion under your hands. Or if you want slightly deeper sensation, you might come onto the forearms. Again, wherever you are, try to create that zero strain condition where you're feeling the sensation in the hips, but you're not feeling strain in the shoulders or the neck. You're not holding the body anywhere. Just finding that quality of rest. We'll be in lizard pose for a few more moments, and then we're switching to pigeon. So lots of variation in pigeon. I'll try to walk you through all the different options, but hopefully your intuition will tell you what you need. You can let that right knee splay open just slightly, but keep the outer edge of the foot active. Then slowly start to press up, heel toe your right foot to the left. You can hug that foot in a little bit closer or try to keep the shin parallel. If you need to, you can bring the back knee in, or if it's outstretched, you're keeping the toes pointing down so that hip, knee, and ankle are pointing towards the floor. I want you to create this square quality in the hips before you start to fold forward, and then gently lower in. So pigeon probably deserves more like 2 minutes. But for today, we're just looking to create that initial sensation. I want you to try to draw your right hip crease back, your left hip down and forward. And again, just breathe, create those long exhales. And to let that sensation kind of rise and fall. From here, we're going to lift back up, bring your back leg around to the outside of your right foot. Take your right arm, wrap it around your left leg, left fingertips behind you for a twist. Here, I want you to anchor the left hip crease down. So you're creating more length across the outer thigh, outer hip. You can even take your thumb, hook it in the hip crease, and create that grounding sensation. This a gentle twist. If you prefer to hook the elbow to the outside of the knee, you can. Otherwise, just creating this sort of self-embrace here, allowing that gentle pressure of the thigh into the low belly, and then using that pressure, that positive pressure, to breathe into. So you're trying to inflate the lungs, inflate the rib cage, the low belly, and then soften more deeply into the twist. From here, we will take that top leg, extend it out long. Opposite leg comes out to the side. And then very gently walk your hands over that front leg, so your left leg. Keep the toes hugging back toward the shin. You get that little bit of lengthening in the calf. You can spider your fingertips, drag them back toward you so that you're softening heart, belly, chest toward the thigh, but without collapsing or rounding in the upper back. So it's like the center of the heart stretching toward the big toe. At the same time, draw your left hip crease back while anchoring that left heel so you get that traction across the back of the leg. Press the back of the knee down into the mat. That'll help engage the quadricep to release the hamstring to signal that reciprocal relaxation. Notice if your right knee is popping up, just create that heavy quality there. And then we'll slowly come up, bring the soles of the feet together, hug the heels close to your pubic bone. You can wrap peace fingers around the big toes, open the soles of the feet like a book. Big inhale, stretch the spine nice and tall. And then as you exhale, start to fold forward. You can use your elbows to press the knees slightly more open. Once you get there, you can start to round in slightly, and don't sweat it if your knees are way up here. I want you just to very gently encourage that heaviness, that openness toward the floor. But again, without force, we want this to maintain the quality of rest. So we're not working hard to create a particular position. We're just letting the body relax into it. You can even walk the hands out forward if that's more comfortable. And we'll start to come up. When you're ready, stretch the right leg long, left knee stays beside you. Square the toes, hug them toward the shin, and then walk your hands over that front leg. Again, trying to keep that chest nice and open. Soften the shoulders down the back. Anchor the right heel, and then energetically draw your right hip crease back. You should feel that nice deep stretch across the back of the leg. Press the back of your knee into the floor, engage the quadricep. It's like sending that signal to the hamstring that it's okay to relax, it's okay to lengthen. So we create these little refinements and just sort of iterate, moving through them in a cycle until we find that sensation that feels like just enough. Not too much, not too little. And that's what we're looking for on our rest days. After this, coming into our seated twist. So that left knee will stay bent. And bring your right foot to the outside. Wrap your left arm around the right leg. You might use your right thumb once again to anchor that right hip crease down. Definitely have some sore glutes today. So you should feel this traction happening across the outer glute, outer thigh. You might take your fingertips behind you if you wish. Send the gaze over the right shoulder. Again, this is more of a passive twist. So we're just creating the body position and then softening into it, not trying to force or hold anything. Feel that gentle positive pressure of the thigh into the lower belly, and then breathe against it. We'll make our quick transition to pigeon pose next. So as you're ready, start to sweep that top leg, take it behind you. And again, you can be in the zigzag shape, back knee bent. You can hug that shin a little bit closer to you. Tuck the back toes under, keep the knee and hip square to the front. Or you can be more in that parallel position with the front shin. So here we're drawing the left hip crease back. Lots of sensation available in pigeon pose. So again, you might find the edge and then soften back a little bit, whether that means hugging the heel in toward you or bending that back knee a bit. Find the place where you can really relax, the place that you can soften into. It doesn't mean that it's not working as well. It doesn't mean that you won't get a sufficient stretch. It just means that our goal for today is rest and recovery. And we're supporting that by softening the hard edges a little bit. After this, we will press up onto the hands, finding lizard pose. So you can hug your knee into your chest, step your foot to the outside of your hands, let your back knee come down once again. Here, I want the top of the back thigh to be down. So you're not on the knee, you're more on the top of the thigh. Get that traction in the hip flexor. You press down into the foot, maybe let that knee splay out to the side. And then you always have the option of coming down to the forearms here. Maybe sway side to side. Again, just letting the hips soften. Find that deep diaphragmatic breath. You might even twist the spine a little bit if that feels good. And we'll slowly start to come up onto the hands. Take your left knee back to join the right. Find puppy pose here. So soften heart, belly, chest to the floor, maybe even the chin. Stretch your sitting bones up and back. Ready to press down through the shins. You're broadening the pelvic floor here, just letting that space open up. If you've got your chin resting, just make sure you can get there without creating any strain. Be here a breath or two more. You might need to really soften the shoulder blades down the back here, lengthen the sides of the waist. And then we'll slowly start to come forward onto the belly. Going to bring your arms to T. Rest your right ear on the mat. And then without changing your shoulders, bend your left knee. Roll onto the right side. Let that left foot be heavy towards the right. So the toes might not touch, that's okay. I want you to focus more on keeping the chest and arms grounded like an anchor. So you feel this nice release in the lower back. Again, without strain. So we're just letting the weight of gravity or the pull of gravity take the weight of that left leg closer to the floor. Breathing through here. Again, you might feel a little bit of that positive pressure in the low belly, even though it's not in contact with anything. The twist creates that little bit of a hug around the low spine, low belly. Come back through center in your own way. And then we'll just switch sides. So we'll bring left ear to the mat. I'm going to keep my right ear just to maintain the sound quality here. But you'll bend your right knee, roll that knee over, that right foot over to the left. Again, here softening into that low spine twist while trying to keep the chest square to the floor. That right shoulder might pop up a little bit, and we don't want to force it to the ground. But just create that intention with the palms, that pressing into the floor. Find a position where you can relax, where you're not having to hold the leg. Maybe that's straightening the knee, coming out of the twist a little bit. Then we'll come back onto the belly. You can pillow your head on your hands. Start to bend the knees and just sway side to side, windshield wiper here. So we're just freeing the lower back. More of a dynamic release here. We want to let any sensation in the lower back dissolve before we enter our final resting posture. And we'll offer that final Shavasana about a minute or two. You can take it on your belly here, just stay as you are, let the arms relax by your sides. Or you can turn onto your back or side, wherever you can really completely relax. So if being on the belly isn't super comfortable, I encourage you to roll to your side or to your back. We'll be here one more minute, just allowing the body to receive the effects of your practice. Notice if you feel different to how you showed up. If that quality you were looking for has started to permeate your energetic body, you might continue just swaying the sacrum gently or dropping into stillness. Again, as with all the postures, if you can or want to stay in Shavasana a bit longer, I encourage you to do so. You might let this become a bit of a meditation, just listening for what bubbles to the surface. But if you are ready, you can make your way from your resting position to a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. Maybe keep your eyes closed for a moment. Just allow the spine to be nice and tall. Bring one hand to heart, one hand to belly. And let's enjoy a complete round of breath. Inhale through the nose. Exhale, sigh. Your eyes are closed. Gently blink them open. I want to thank you so very much for joining me for this practice today. This one designed to support you throughout your cycle as that complement to your strength training, a great one to incorporate before bed. Even on a daily basis, it's a great way to sort of release the tension from the day or to sort of open up pathways first thing in the morning. So it's a great stretch session no matter what time of day you need it. So I hope you'll keep this one in your back pocket for whenever your body just needs that little bit of love. So thank you for being here and for letting your body be moved.